For those of you who know or might not know, GALEO is a statewide nonpartisan organization whose mission is to promote the ongoing leadership, development, and civic engagement of the Latino community.
Never before have I been surrounded by such a beautiful and diverse Latinx community, so willing to give back. And thanks to the GIL program, I've been honing my skills and learning what it means to be a servant leader, a compassionate leader, how to effectively communicate my thoughts and my ideas, and how to work alongside those with differing viewpoints, all skills that I know I can bring, and possibly some of you, whenever you go into public office, or we go into public office. Because this is how we truly begin to change, to take over the positions that have been dominated for too long by those who don't represent us. We are a rich and diverse nation, and that should be celebrated and represented in all forms of leadership. And GIL has been proving to me that my voice and my story, who I am, is capable, but that it's not just me. It's all of our voices and all of our stories of those who have been underserved, undermined, and ignored for too long.
We have a lot of work with the 2019 local elections, where we will see many new Latino faces running for office in local elections. We heard from one, Ms. Mireles, running in Smyrna. 2020 is right around the corner as well. And we have to work to break records of not just the numbers of Latinos registered to vote in Georgia, but break records of Latino voter participation in 2020. Our voices will be heard come the presidential election cycle as well. A round of applause for all of our team accomplishing the great work under civic engagement.
There's something about being in Georgia that I have to say, as someone who has not spent a lot of time in Georgia until I moved here, that has been revelatory for me professionally. I was born and raised in Arizona, Mexican-American family, copper miners, Southern Arizona. I moved to New York City to go to college, and I stayed. I spent my entire adult life in New York City. I spent more time in New York City than I have in Arizona, so the concept of home can be city, desert, sometimes not sure. Now it's Georgia. I have definitely worked with some of the best people in the media industry, and I gotta say that the caliber of individuals that I've worked with here in Georgia, not just at Mundo, but across the industry, have just impressed me to no end. The work that GALEO does and the state in which we're heading into election season for 2020 just gives GALEO that much more relevance. And I gotta say that collectively, everyone in this breakfast, everyone who's associated with GALEO, everyone who's associated with media, Hispanic or otherwise, in the state of Georgia, has a national platform and people are listening. So it's up to us, the responsibility of the people in this room, to do what we can to stand up and voice what we think, because while the world didn't know it, Georgia and our votes certainly do matter on a national scale, and we're seeing it in our dailies every single minute. We see it on our digital numbers all the time. When there's a story that breaks in Georgia, it's representative of something that's happening in the rest of the nation. And that's just something that we should all be aware of, because with great influence comes great responsibility.
And a very powerful way to do civic engagement is through art. And maybe we don't talk about art enough, but our keynote speaker will tell us that this morning, Jane Cambron. She, in her short 2 decades of life, has already amassed a very impressive resume. In 2017, she was voted or named by the Georgia Hispanic Chamber of Commerce as one of the 50 most influential Georgians in Atlanta. The Teach for America has appointed her to their corps of educators fighting for education equality, and she is the first of 2 DACA recipients to be appointed as such in Georgia. Her first mural was part of the project of Buford Highway Walk. I don't know if you had the opportunity of seeing it, but it was a very powerful mural depicting a lot of butterflies. The main butterfly, half of its body was a mariposa monarca. For those of you who are of Mexican descent, that will be very meaningful. And the other half of the body was an open book. And the purpose of the mural was to promote discussion around the protection of undocumented youth.
I grew up like a normal kid, but then I started having these experiences as I transitioned into adulthood, where I realized that I was transitioning into illegality. And I hate to use that word, but that's what was happening. I realized that I could not get a driver's license. I realized that I had to pay out-of-state tuition because I was undocumented in a state like Georgia. I realized that I did not qualify for a lot of scholarships. And in that process of discovering that undocumentedness and transitioning into illegality, I started sort of panicking and opening up to my teachers and telling them all about my story, educating them on what it meant to be undocumented. Because I opened up to them, they helped me apply for college. I was able to apply for the Educator Foundation Scholarship at Agnes Scott College, and I received a full ride to attend Agnes Scott in 2010. While I was at Agnes Scott, I learned how to use my artwork as a platform for change, right? Like all these years of trauma and fears, I was finally being able to process them through my artwork. And so then, when I graduated, I decided to join Teach for America in their fight for social justice. And so I began teaching elementary school in Clayton County. And then in 2017, can you go to the next slide? I transitioned to teach art at Cross Keys High School, which is where I graduated. At the same time, when I started teaching at Cross Keys, the Living Walls Conference, We Love You High, the View High Walk, came to Buford Highway. It was a collaboration between Living Walls and We Love You High. And the whole point of the conference is to elevate immigrants. At this time, I was not calling myself an artist. I wasn't creating anything. But this conference was coming to my home, to my community. And even though I was not one of the artists, I knew I had to participate in the conversations. And so when the community conversation started happening, I joined one of the conversations. I introduced myself as an artist and someone that grew up on Buford Highway. And Monica Campana, the executive director, invited me to be a part of the conference as an artist. And my brain was like, I don't know how to do mural, I don't know how to do this, I don't know. But out of my mouth, I was like, yes, I will do it, I'll paint a mural. So I painted the Education is Liberation Monarch, which was actually, the Education is Liberation Monarch, this mural, I intended for it to be a space to advocate for undocumented youth. So I had an event there where people came, took their picture as to why they needed the 3 Maxi Pass, and then made phone calls to their members of Congress, which is really, really important to push them to pass legislation to protect people like me. And a couple of months, well, a year after all of this happened, the owners of the building decided to paint over the mural because they wanted to remain neutral. And so I don't have the option of remaining neutral, right? This is exactly what I live every single day. I wake up with this. This is not something I can just shake off and I'm like, oh, I'm not taking sides. It's not like that. So in this situation where I felt like I was being silenced, I felt like I needed to respond by creating more opportunities and creating a conversation. So a couple of months ago, in April of this year, the Latin American Association opened its doors to the Education of Liberation Monarch, and I got to paint it. And instead of the text that was previously there, I chose the text "Here to Stay" because it was a part that was initially painted over by whoever censored it. I'm not sure, it could have been anybody. But this time, I did it in English and Spanish, and so it was extremely important for it to be bilingual for me. I realized for the first time that my artwork and the things that I can do with these public spaces were much bigger than me and much bigger than I could ever be. And I could have just quit. I could have stopped creating, but instead I continued to create. I continued to push my work. And when I started using my work as a platform to take back our narratives, because we, people like me, people like my parents, are often painted as criminals, I wanted people through my work to see themselves as bigger than that fear of being undocumented. Right now, I am painting a mural in the city of Decatur that depicts 3 immigrant women. The woman on your right is my mom. The woman in the center is one of my classmates' moms. They're from Zambia, and the woman on the left is the mom of one of my former students. And so these people, I wanted to just honor them because they ultimately left everything behind to get us here, right? And I know mostly everyone in this country has an immigration narrative. My parents sacrificed their entire lives, sacrificed the ability to see their parents back home when they were sick, when they passed away, to bring me here to create opportunities for me. So I'm here, and this is my new home, right? And I now am able to stand in front of you and show you all my work and show you everything I'm doing as an educated Latina with DACA who has been in the classroom and is putting our faces all around the city. But I should absolutely not be the exception, right? Just like me, all of you guys here have the ability to activate that collective power that we have in our community in really big ways and in really small ways. We each have a platform and a space that we can use to rally for each other and to fight for each other. I'm not special. The things that I'm doing, I'm doing because I know that especially in moments like these, if we don't protect each other and if we don't fight for each other, we will not move forward in our fight for social justice and for equity. And so I'm going to leave you with a quote that I learned as I convened with documented teachers from all over the country through Teach for America that kind of resonates with this collective, this theme of collective power and of us standing up for each other. And this is a quote from Assata Shakur, who was a leader of the Black Liberation Movement. And it reads, "It is our duty to fight for freedom. It is our duty to win. We must love each other and support each other. We have nothing to lose but our chains."